morning, everybody. Welcome back to UncutAlly. Ow.
Good morning.
Why did you punch me?
I don't know.
Weirdo. What's your name?
I'm Chris. I didn't actually punch. It was a love.
Well, why did it hurt?
I don't know.
Dun dun. Anyway, welcome back to Uncut Advice. We are so excited. Chris has a good one for us. He said he was like, "Yeah, I found a good one."
The Christmas edition.
Ooh, that's exciting. I was hoping we'd do Christmas ones. But some rules, some guidelines for this. Number one, these are our opinions, and we'd love to hear your opinions. However, we ask that everybody keep it respectful. It's okay to disagree with people. It's okay to share your opinions, but give people the respect of whatever their thoughts are, and hopefully everyone will do the same. 2, we can only work with whatever information we are given, so we have to make inferences, theories, but, there's always more to a story than what one person posts on Reddit. And there's a fine line between a toxic relationship, an abusive relationship, and just a bad situation. So it's hard to know the difference. Hopefully, if you are in a toxic or abusive relationship, you are able to get out and not use advice to accept the bad treatment you are putting on someone or the bad treatment you're getting.
Thumbs up.
I feel like I'm getting it down.
It was
better.
really good.
It's
1,
more
2, 3.
succinct.
All right,
and fuck
everybody.
this guy. Who the fuck is this?
Fuck this guy. Guess what? This was on r/relationship advice from.
Wow, surprise.
From throw RA_Xmas Blues. Do I F40?
That sound good.
Yeah.
Cool.
Do
It
I
should be like the most sad thing. And I'm just singing it.
Do I, female 40, break up my 11-year marriage to my husband, male 39, because of Christmas?
Because of Chris? You? Those are ages you don't hear a lot in Reddit stories. You hear a lot of like 20s and teens and early 30s. Usually by mid to late 30s, you are pretty solid in yourself and your relationship. It usually means that it's probably not a good relationship.
Okay, I have been married to my husband for 11 years. We have 3 children. The relationship is mostly good, but we've had some strained times that have taken some working through.
Sorry if you just heard scratching. Our cats are on some shit right now.
They're busy. Always doing that.
Could you repeat that last, 2 words? Some working through. Perfect, thank you.
Some working through.
Sorry.
My biggest issue currently, though, is Christmas. I have had such happy memories of family Christmases growing up. I love Christmas with my family. We sang, we played games, we ate. Christmas morning was always slow, involved church, preparing. This was a whole family activity and eating Christmas dinner. Then gifts, films, games, songs, and Christmas tea all followed. My husband's Christmases growing up has many of the same ingredients: gifts, TV, Christmas dinner, but he's told me all the gifts were opened before breakfast, then they played with their gifts and didn't interact much after that. Over the years of our relationship, I've never felt like I've had a Christmas like I did growing up with my husband. Most of the time, I'd been reduced to tears each Christmas Eve and/or Christmas Day. He suspects he's autistic, and anything other than what he grew up with is a problem. If it's not what he ate for breakfast growing up as a kid, it's not Christmas. If I want the kids to wait to open presents so we can all be present, it's a problem. If I ask for helping making Christmas dinner, it's unreasonable because he wants to spend time with the kids and his mother always cooks. If I cook any of the 2 vegetables he bothers to eat, I ruined it for everyone. If I suggest playing a game, I'm told not to bother the kids because they want to look at their new toys even when they ask to play a new board game they got. I want to watch a Christmas film. I end up watching it by myself. I've tried talking to him about compromises over the years, but I've got nowhere. The past couple of years I've given up even trying because I'm too tired to argue with I'm autistic. I can't deal with it any other way. My mother tried to speak to him about it after witnessing me in tears on Christmas Day for years. Now he goes around bitching because she doesn't understand how autism works. I am now at the point where I am dreading Christmas. It always seems to end up with me upset and disappointed. In his defense, the kids don't know to expect anything different to what I have written, and they seem happy. I just know that a family Christmas can be so much more. It seems stupid to break up a marriage over a couple of days, but I have thought about it. I just can't see a way forward for things to improve.
This is a tough one.
Yeah. There's some extra stuff.
Oh.
I don't know if you want it.
I always
want it a little later.
I don't know what it is.
They were saying, thanks for those who commented and the time it has taken to post this. Blah, blah, blah. They can't reply directly. For those who mentioned it, we are trying to get a diagnosis, but time and money are a factor. We prioritize money for the kids. This isn't our marriage 365 days of the year. The problems come with anything out of day-to-day life. Family vacations never go well for us. He would rather avoid them altogether. I live for vacations. For those who say you should go to therapy, I have in the past, and I'm willing to do couples therapy, but it takes two to make that work. Why not take the kids off to my family myself? I nearly did a couple years ago, but in reality the distance is too far to make it pleasant for the kids. Basically, that's the rest of the stuff.
Okay.
It took us 8 minutes just to read the thing.
Mental health, mental illness, any disabilities.
Yeah.
Are a reason, not an excuse, is always what I like to say.
Yeah.
Like, I've been very transparent. Like, I am bipolar. But when I scream at Chris, it's not an excuse for my behavior. It can be a reason for my behavior. But I am still actively yelling at him, which is not good, and hurting him, which is not good. If you are autistic, you cannot just say, I'm autistic, that's the way things are.
Yeah.
Yes, there are things that like are more difficult for you that you can't change about yourself. You're wired differently. Mm-hmm. But there's a line between conforming for the sake of like masking and things like that, like suppressing your illness or suppressing the way that you are different from others, and actually growing as a person that allows you to still compromise and be a good partner in spite of your illness.
Right. Yeah. The top comment was like, I'm autistic and have ADHD and this makes no sense.
No, like he's using it as a crutch of like, that's just how it is, babe. I'm autistic. You can't do anything. I'm going to scream at you. Like,
right.
That's not cool. There's a difference between accommodations and understanding your partner's illnesses or differences and like either babying your partner and like what's the word I'm looking, not aiding but like enabling
yeah.
Enabling their kind of shitty behavior, and like on the other side like you having shitty behavior. Mm-hmm. You can be an asshole and still have a mental illness. Those two are not simonious to each other. Like,
yeah,
you can be one or the other, or you can be both.
They're being an asshole.
You're being an asshole.
You're being an asshole.
Like,
full stop.
A relationship is about compromise.
Yeah.
There are things that I hate that I don't do during the holidays that I used to do as a kid. But, like, it's also not just me anymore.
Right.
Like, it's me and my partner. It's now Chris's family. It's my family. It's my brother's wife's family. You know? Like,
yeah.
There's so many other instances that there's a compromise of, like, bringing in a few traditions where you can. Mm-hmm. But, like, reducing your wife to tears on Christmas is crazy.
Every year?
11 years married, and now we're wondering if we should leave, girl. And I don't believe it. Nobody is only one way one day of the year.
Yeah.
There are other things that he is refusing to compromise in your life.
Well, the fact that she was talking about, like, vacations as an example, and was like, yep, Always terrible.
It's like, autism aside, you two aren't compatible. He's not willing to compromise. He's not willing to hear what you like to do. He doesn't even care about vacationing. Like, you're not compatible if you're like, I really love vacationing, but haven't vacationed in 11 years because my husband doesn't like it. Like, that's crazy, you know? Yeah. Like, I, for example, have a really massive fear of, like, flying in airplanes, and I suck it up because I love my family, and I suck it up because we have to, but, like, this year we almost drove because I was very anxious. Like, that's an accommodation. That's a circumvention. It's not like, I'm like, babe, we can never see our families. I'm anxious. We can't see our families. Wild. You know,
that'd be wild.
Like you can try and make shit work, and it's clear that he doesn't want to make shit work, and he has the privilege of having a disability that he can put blame onto.
Yeah.
Rather than just flat out and like then you're the bad person for being like, my husband's autistic and I can't accommodate him, he's an asshole. And then it's like, he's autistic, how dare you?
Yeah,
like,
how dare you?
Like, then he has the out of, like, this is how I am, I can't change myself. And it's like, that's all well and good, you're still a fucking asshole.
Yeah, I mean, I think, like, there's certain things like, okay, like, maybe he can get like a vegetable that he's used to as a kid, sure. But, like, you can't, like, tell them they can't, like, play their board game that they just got and shit like that. Then it's just, like, controlling, you know? Like, it's okay if there's certain things that...
I think it was the inverse. She wanted to do something with the kids, and his tradition was that they would just play with their things.
Right.
So it's like, hey, let's spend time together. And it's like, no, the kids must play. And it's like...
Yeah, that's crazy.
Okay, buddy.
It's crazy.
Nah, that's crazy.
I just read it and I was like, this is crazy. Especially, like, you know, being married so long. And this sounds like a recurring thing. I think, like, you know, you saying, like, the day-to-day life is fine. I feel like there's certain moments where, well, maybe it's not, but even if it is like certain moments where, like, someone's true personality comes. If you're just, like, going through the motions, I don't know if you necessarily are interacting that much or, like...
Well, I think his thing is, like, he needs everything to be routine and the same. So, like, yeah, maybe the day-to-day isn't different enough to, like, shake up the tism for him. But that doesn't... I don't know. I think that still would come out in different ways then. Like, if she makes something for dinner and he, like, doesn't like it. But, like, these are the things that are okay if you have a disability. Like, it's okay to be like, hey, I need you to let me know when we're changing shit up and stuff. You know, like, there is a line between reasonable accommodation and accommodating your partner's needs and differences. And then, like, your partner just using their needs and differences as a way to control the entire situation in your entire lives. Like, I don't believe that it's only Christmas, you know? Like, I think it might be smaller ways. I think it's just, like, Christmas is so special to the OP that, like, that's when she notices it the most. It's like, this is supposed to be my favorite day. This is supposed to be a day of great memories, and, like, I fucking hate you right now.
Every time.
11 years?
Every time.
Get the fuck out.
It sucks when there's, like, 3 kids involved and all this other shit, but I feel like...
It's complicated.
It's complicated. It might be... it's like the true colors, though, generally do come out, like, in holidays and stressful situations, and I just... It points to assholeness all around, so then it's like, how do you... If you're, like, you can't go on vacations, like, how much are you really sacrificing for this guy, you know?
Yeah. And it's frustrating because, like, there are going to be people, and I hope nobody in the comments, but if it happens, that are like, this is an ableist view. Like, he has a disability and or a mental health difference, you know? And what you're saying is not accommodating to him. And it's like, I love the analogy of, like, using a physical disability to explain a mental disability, because sometimes people can only understand things that they see, not things that are, like, inside.
Yeah.
But, like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of something. But it'd be like making every race a seated race. maybe this analogy doesn't work. I'm going to go through with it. A seated race to accommodate wheelchair users, not people. But then, like, people are not allowed to run. Did that make sense?
That makes sense.
Okay. Do you see what I'm going with? It's like over accommodation is not an accommodation.
I was going to go like...
Does that make sense?
I was going to go like the inverse, where it's like, if like you need a wheelchair, or like say your legs don't operate, and a reasonable accommodation is you to have a wheelchair so that you can move around. So it's like, putting that in like the mental health perspective, it's like if you have autism, you can probably work on some guardrails or do something that helps the specific situation, like kind of compromise in certain ways, right?
Guardrails?
You're not guardrails.
I have no idea what you had me.
Let's
What's
just
a
pretend the first
guardrail?
part. I just meant like there's probably coping mechanisms or like specific things that they can do to compromise. That's what I meant by guardrails. It's like a specific. It's like, okay, if this is really important to you, we can do that. But I also need this. Guidelines. Oh my gosh. Guidelines.
So
Guardrails. It's like we're not going on the road.
I was like, guardrails.
Yeah, I guess I don't know. It's a little bit difficult to explain. But does that make kind of sense?
I like using analogy to help explain things, but I feel like that confused it more. So I'm just gonna keep it as it is. There's a difference between accommodations. I think we confused ourselves.
I'm confused.
There's a difference between accommodation and like completely usurping a situation.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, a friend of ours is autistic, and he can be very sensitive to sound and get very overwhelmed with people. And we recently went on our Big Bear trip with all of our friends, and it was like, okay, a reasonable accommodation is like, we all had to bunk up, and he sometimes needs his own space. So it's like, okay, we can give you the master bedroom. It's not a big deal.
Right.
But, like, the master bedroom was near the living room, and we were all like, hey, what's the best situation for you to be able to, like, go into your solace alone? Is it to have your complete own space, or is it more of a, like, you need some time, you need the furthest bedroom away? So, like, that's an accommodation. An unreasonable accommodation would be if he, like, gave us a curfew of, like, 9 p.m., you know? Like, then it's like, we all paid the exact same amount of money. We're all having a good time. We accommodated you by, like, giving you the right room, and, like, you know the circumstances, you know the terms of this trip. It's gonna be a party trip. We're gonna have a good time, you know?
Yeah.
So, like, that would be unreasonable, and that, I think, would be crossing the line of having boundaries and being able to assist your friend or your family in a way that they can accommodate and be able to still be a part of everything, versus, like, now the entire trip is on your terms. And every single thing has to be on what you're saying it has to be on.
Yeah, that's a really
I think that's a good example.
That's a good example.
Yeah. And, like, he didn't do that. Like, we were clear. He was like, no, I think having my own room would be the best. Like, even if it gets too loud, like, I'll be okay because it's just, like, my space.
Yeah.
So, like, everything was fine. He had a great time. There was no issue. And we were all fine accommodating it.
Yeah.
However, like, there's a line to it, I think. And I think I would hope anybody with a disability, anybody with a mental illness would agree. Like, I would not expect Chris to not share his emotions with me because they could trigger my emotions or anything, you know?
Yeah.
But, like, he understands it takes me a while to transition in between emotions, and I have bigger emotions than usual. However, like, how I go about them, I'm not asking him to listen to me yell at him every day, every time I get mad, or, like, expect me to not apologize when I overstep.
Yeah.
But, like, he does give me the grace of, like, she has big emotions, like, I understand, and he doesn't walk on eggshells around me is the biggest thing. Like, there's still so much honesty, but he also knows, like, when I reach my limit, sometimes I just need a break. Sometimes we just need to, like, not talk about whatever's going on. Sometimes I just need to sit in sadness, and I'm like, I forgave you, but my emotions have not forgiven you, so I just need some time.
Yeah.
But, like, it'd be different if, like, then we never talked about anything. He couldn't bring anything up to me.
I think it's like there's a lack of initiative because I feel like shit if every Christmas I've made you cry with how I was acting every single year.
That's the other thing.
That'd eat away at me instead of me being an asshole about me like, it has to be this way. I can't believe you're doing this.
Yeah. This isn't all just going to be about autism. This was just getting that groundwork down so that we can build upon why what he's doing is not okay. And it's like, how are you... Like, does he know she's crying all the time?
It sounds like it, because it sounds like her mom tried to...
His mom, I thought.
Oh, yeah, one of the two. A mother tried to explain.
A mother.
He's like, I'm autistic. It's just a very defensive. Yeah. It's not like a, let's come together and figure out what each of us need. It's like, it puts up a wall if you just say, like, they don't understand.
Exactly. It's not constructive. It's not like, hey, this is why I need this to be this way. Mm-hmm. And then they're discussing it. It's like, I need it to be this way. End of the discussion. Yeah. And that's never okay.
It's just a lack of understanding. You know, like, even if he has valid reasons, he couldn't communicate them. So, like, what are they? Yeah. So I would just be left pissed. If, like, he genuinely, there are certain things, I'm sure, where it's like, there's a long story behind it, or there's, like, history behind it, and it makes it a lot more understandable. But if you don't have the understanding, you're just, like, completely an asshole.
But that's the thing, like, it seems like she understands why. It's like they've talked about their traditions.
And then he's like, none of yours.
He's just not budging.
Yeah.
And I think it has... And I could be wrong. We're not experts on autism out here, so I'd love to hear from other people. But, like, I think it's just a lack of compassion. Mm-hmm. Like, I think he doesn't really... care about her traditions. It's being selfish. It's saying like, what I want is what I want. And like, everyone has memories of Christmas, and I'm sure a lot of people want to keep their traditions alive, but like, traditions adapt over time. I think it's wonderful, and your partner should accommodate some or most of your traditions as long as they don't conflict with theirs, you know? Mm-hmm. Like, my tradition was staying up until midnight and then opening your presents at midnight. And then the present from Santa would come, like, Christmas morning, and then you'd open that one. Yeah. And, like, that was a big deal for me. Because then, like, the whole family was partying, and then you stayed up till midnight. Everybody's drunk. Everybody continues having a good time. And then, like... I could always open a few of my gifts, but my mom was just like, don't get it everywhere. There's like people still. Yeah. And we've kind of kept that tradition of staying up till midnight and then opening our gifts when we can. Mm-hmm. But like, we also live in California, and our entire family is on the East Coast. So when we do travel, we either spend Christmas Day with one family or the other family. And it just depends. Like, when we're with Chris's family, we try to keep those traditions alive. When we're with my family, you know, it's become more of, like, my brother's wife's side's traditions, but they have a kid, you know? Mm-hmm. So it's just, like, in smaller ways adapting your traditions, but there also needs to be some respect for the other person's traditions and a give and a take. I just couldn't imagine, like, if every year I was like, nope, it has to be my family. Yeah. Like, that's the only way I can translate it to our lives, you know? It's like, every year is just my family, or your family.
Yeah, I mean, Christmas is the ultimate compromise holiday. It literally really is. So it is the embodiment of compromise in a relationship, is like how you deal with Christmas. So I think it's a very big signal to compromise in every other aspect of a relationship. It's literally like multiple perspectives coming together. Unique things. Someone had a kid. Oh, gotta change this, gotta change that. If you're like aren't changing a single fucking thing, you're just a complete asshole. Like, and it's...
Or someone didn't have traditions and doesn't care. Like, that's totally fine.
Sure. But this is wild.
They clearly have different definitions for what Christmas should be, and that's not an issue until you're not compromising on it. Yeah. And he's not compromising on it, and that's not cool. Like, I don't
like him.
I would love if you guys could work this through, but it seems like he's not willing to communicate with you on it.
Not willing to go to therapy.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's not even advice, because you're saying people gave you that advice, and you're like, it takes two to do that. And you can just tell how much resentment has built up on her part, and understandably so. Yeah. But it's just tough, you know? Tough. Like, because some people are going to call you petty and be like, you're breaking up over Christmas, but like... I think it speaks more to his respect for you, his respect for what your history and family traditions are. Yeah. and his respect for your emotions. Like, if Chris told me every day, on a specific day I've made him cry, I'd stop trying to make him cry or, like, change something. And, like, you have 3 kids. Like, these kids, I'm sure, are seeing it. Because it sounds like he's snipping at you. And if you watched a Christmas movie alone on Christmas, I think your kids would fucking notice, you know?
Even if you don't think they did.
Yeah, like, you're not...
Kids notice shit.
You're putting a very bad example, both of you, of, like... In a relationship, one person crumbles and one person wins. Mm-hmm. And that's not a relationship that's healthy.
Yeah.
So, like, a lot of people have shame of, like, oh, well, kids are involved. You should try and keep the family together. And it's like, my mom was like, I celebrated the day my parents got divorced. Because some people are just not compatible. And some people just should not be together. And that's okay. It doesn't make you a bad person to have a failed relationship, and it doesn't make a relationship failed to have a relationship that doesn't last forever. It had its purpose. Yeah. You got kids out of it. You got 11 okay years out of it. You know, like, it's okay if a relationship ends. And your family might be better for it. If he's not willing to put in the work, and I'd have that last conversation of, like, I need to be, and maybe not on Christmas, like, maybe a few months before Christmas, of, like, let him try and make the change one last time. Yeah. Or try and get through to you. Or try to get through to him.
Like, where like, catch him up where you're at mentally.
Yeah, just be like, hey, I'm at the point that I'm asking strangers for advice because I feel like a bad person for not wanting to be with you because our Christmases are brutal for me. Yeah. And I think it'll open up a lot more. Like, saying that it's just that one day of the year and then we slowly learn that it's also trips. I'm sure there are slowly learning it's also this time and this time and this thing. Like, nobody's perfect all the time. Yeah. But nobody fucks up only once. You know? Especially when it's, like, that grand of a thing. It's not a mistake. It's like a habit. So that would be my advice. Just good advice. Have a sit down far away from Christmas and be like, this is where I'm at. Can we make a change? Have that conversation. Be brutally honest, but also, like, not in a, like, we're breaking up now way, but in a, like, I want this to change. This needs to change. I love you, and, like, I believe that you can do it. Yeah. His reaction will be telling. It could be the decision maker, or you might have to wait. If he says he's going to implement change, see how those changes are implemented. See if maybe he's open to therapy and see how that goes. Yeah. But if he's just not on anything, sometimes it's better to walk away from a relationship, even with kids, even with a marriage, even when you're fully integrated. Sometimes that could be the kick in the ass that both of you need, and then you end up stronger for it. Yeah. Could also be exactly what you both needed, and you find people that are more compatible, that are willing to put up with his shit, or maybe he changes for someone else, or maybe you find somebody who supports you and your traditions and your kids. And it'll be tougher, and it's a hard thing to accept and a hard thing to go through, but sometimes it's for the best, and hard things can make you come out a little bit stronger. Thank you.
That was beautiful. That was beautiful.
What are your thoughts?
I feel like I said a lot of the things I was thinking.
Cool.
I mean, I think it's time to have the final conversation about it. Either there's change and that's telling, or there's no change and that's telling. And you need to draw a line in the sand and have action items. Like, is this gonna work or not? Like, you can't just be thinking about it forever. You really need to, like, have a decision-making moment. I think that would be that. So, good luck.
That was a good one. I think it was very productive. Yeah. Again, nothing that we said was meant to be ableist at all. No. It's coming from a person who has mental health issues and has dealt with other people who have mental health issues and need accommodation. And it's something that I've always said, just like, mental health disabilities are a reason, not an excuse, you know? Yeah. So there are certain things that you can't do. There are certain things you can do. There's certain accommodations you need, and all of those are reasonable until you use all of those things to hurt someone on purpose, to become an asshole.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not like he did this once, didn't understand it, and then she told him and he was willing to, they had a discussion, change. Like, none of that happened. This has happened for 11 years.
Terrible.
You are an asshole.
Asshole.
And you are using parts of you that you can't change to excuse your behavior when your behavior still had its effect. So none of this was meant to be ableist. Reasonable accommodations are a beautiful thing. Compromise is a beautiful thing. Getting into a relationship with someone with a mental disability or mental illness or mental health spiciness is wonderful, but don't let them steamroll you or use it as a way to control everything about the relationship. There is a line. There still needs to be conversations and within means, of course. Like, every disability is different. Every accommodation is different. This is not a one-size-fits-all. No one's brain is the exact same way. But I think in this situation, there are other ways that he could have reacted. There are other ways to compromise and still she can still honor his autism.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
And if people take it in an ableist way, that's your fucking problem. I didn't mean it that way. I'm mad. What?
You're silly.
I'm honest.
I know.
I didn't mean it that way.
Honest Allie.
And I'd love to hear from everybody.
Yeah.
On everything.
Leave a comment, leave a like.
Yeah.
Or just give us feedback. That'd be great.
Anything else?
No.
Cool. I think that was a good conversation.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was respectful. You agree?
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Well, what day is it? Sunday. Thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Have a lovely Sunday. A happy birthday. Have a great day and a happy birthday. I threw in Sunday and I confused myself. Have a great day and a happy birthday. Love you. Bye.
Bye.